Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asia Simpson. I am the Wellness and Benefits Consultant for Pomona Unified School District. And welcome to today's session. It is the last session of the virtual benefits fair events. And if you had the opportunity to take a look at the flyer, today's session will be regarding understanding when to file a complaint against your health plan with the Department of Managed Health Care. And so we will be discussing that in today's session. Just as a reminder, today's session will be recorded. So if you, for whatever reason, had to join late or have to leave early, you will be able to review the recorded session. Without further ado, we are going to go ahead and get today's session started. I'm going to share my screen and review what we will be discussing today. So in today's workshop, what we will be covering as an overview is, first of all, what is the Department of Managed Health Care and who do they govern? We'll also take a look at the Department of Managed Health Care Help Center support and how they support, as well as what is a complaint versus an IMR. And we will discuss specifically what an IMR is, as well as what the response time to an IMR is. We will review the process of how to submit a complaint, and we'll take a look at some resources and answer any potential questions there may be. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is the DMHC? DMHC stands for the Department of Managed Healthcare. And the purpose of the Department of Managed Healthcare and the mission is really to protect your healthcare rights by making sure that your health plan follows the law and to ensure a stable healthcare delivery system. The focus of today's workshop, though, will really be as it pertains to making sure that your healthcare rights are protected. And who the Department of Managed Healthcare is comprised of is essentially a group of medical and legal experts who address issues regarding some health plan related issues. So they are really who comprise like part of the support team. There is some licensing aspects of what the Department of Managed Healthcare does. But like I said, in today's session, we're really going to focus on the piece that pertains to ensuring that your rights and that your health plan is following the letter to the law in terms of how you are able to access the services you're entitled to. The Department of Managed Healthcare provides this service to all Californians free of charge, and it's available in all languages. So if you do not happen to speak or know someone who doesn't speak English and they need assistance, that will not stop them from being able to get the assistance that they need through the DMHC. And it is a mouthful, so you will hear me go through and convert everything to the acronyms just for the sake of not getting tongue-tied. So who does the DMHC govern? Well, first of all, the DMHC was established in 2000 before the onset of the Affordable Care Act, and they get their authority through the Knox-Knee Healthcare Service Act of 1975. So that's where they get their authority from. They license and regulate over 123 plans. So they essentially regulate and license all of the HMOs. There are some PPOs and exclusive PPOs, exclusive provider organizations that they regulate. Some dental and vision plans, not all. Some of the dental and vision plans are regulated by the California Department of Insurance. So there's a bit of split there, but they do regulate some of them. They also regulate some of the large group plans and some small group plans. Most of the Medi-Cal managed healthcare plans or managed care plans, many individual plans, and many pharmacy plans. So there's a lot of reach that the Department of Managed Healthcare has. So the Department of Managed Healthcare, as it pertains to the topic of today's session, they have a help center, and their help center support really focuses on educating consumers about what their healthcare rights are, as well as resolving any consumer complaints against your healthcare plan. It also helps consumers understand what their coverage is, and also helps ensure that they get timely access to the appropriate healthcare services. So this is a really useful organization in terms of you as the consumer and utilizing your plan, and making sure that you get access, ability to, and address issues regarding your plan. So their group really does spend time helping you with those things. And if you file the thing about the help center, it's really broken out into two different types of elements as it pertains to ensuring that your health plan provides you with the services you're entitled to under the law. It has to do with consumer complaints versus an independent medical review. If you filed a complaint, which is sometimes called an appeal, if you filed an appeal with your health plan and they didn't fix the problem within 30 days, then the Department of Managed Healthcare Help Center can help you. You can file a complaint. You can either file a complaint through your health against your health plan, or you can apply for an independent medical review or an IMR, and that's what you will hear me refer to it as throughout the duration of today's workshop. But an IMR, and we'll talk a little bit about what an IMR is here in just a second, but IMR and or complaints can be submitted online, they can be submitted by mail, or you can submit them via fax. So you have three different ways. The fastest way, though, I will say, is to submit it online. And you can do it very easily right online, and then you can get confirmation via email that your submission has been received. Now, if your problem is urgent, like you are about to be discharged from the hospital, but you don't think you're ready, or you're having trouble receiving treatment for life-threatening illnesses like cancer, don't wait. Do not wait. You can get help right away. You can call the 1-800 number and they'll be able to assist you. And the 1-800 number, the link to the website, the address, the fax number, all of that is going to be listed in the resources section of this presentation, which we will look at later on in the presentation. So what is a complaint versus an IMR, an independent medical review? I mentioned both in the slide before. So an independent medical review, or essentially, when do you utilize both? So an independent medical review really is a group of clinicians that are not connected to your health plan that will review your case. And if your health plan denies like changes or they deny your services, or they implement changes, or they delay a request for medical services, or they deny payment for emergency treatment, or they refuse to cover experimental or investigational treatment for serious conditions, you can apply for an IMR. Those are scenarios in which you can do that. So if you originally were diagnosed with a serious illness and your doctor implemented a treatment plan that you don't agree with, maybe you think it's too aggressive or you think there are better options, and you request them and they deny it, then that is a scenario for which you can submit an independent medical review. If you're not sure, you can still submit it. And if it doesn't necessarily qualify for an independent medical review, then it will be bumped into the consumer complaint category and they will still review it. Now, you can file a consumer complaint when you have other issues with your health plan. And like I mentioned before, if it doesn't qualify as an independent medical review or IMR, it'll be considered as a consumer complaint. But other issues that you can file if you know it's a complaint, they consist of things like billing problems. Maybe your coverage was canceled. You have disputes regarding claims and copays. You have delays in getting appointments. Referrals or authorizations are denied. You have access to translational services or finding in-network doctors, anything that relates to your actual plan coverage or things that you're entitled to, and you are having issues, you can submit a consumer complaint against your plan, or you can also submit a complaint against the doctor, okay? There is a space on the page for that. So, as I mentioned before, you can apply for an IMR if your plan denies the care you need and says it's not necessary or that it's experimental. Sometimes plans do, in fact, deny experimental treatments, or they deem the particular treatment is not a medical necessity, or they won't pay for emergency care that you have already received. That has happened. These are all scenarios for which you would want to submit for an independent medical review or submit for a complaint. And I would first, when in doubt, go ahead and submit it as an independent medical review request. But during an IMR, doctors who are independent, as I mentioned before, and don't work for your health plan, they will pretty much examine your case and to see if your plan appropriately handled the request that you submitted, or for the service that you believe that you were entitled to. Or if you should receive the requested service or not. They'll take a look to see if that was even necessary. Sometimes the issue is not necessarily getting access to a service, but maybe you had a treatment that you didn't feel like was necessary, and you were being forced to go a particular direction with your services than you would have liked to before you could access something that you did want to. A case example of that is sometimes with pharmacy benefits or with drug benefits, you are required to do step therapy and utilize a series of other medications before you can gain access to the one that you actually do want access to. And there are some people who just don't have really good reactions to the medications that the pharmacy benefit manager wants you to utilize first. And so that would be a case where you would want to submit it for an independent medical review. These doctors may discover that your health plan was wrong to deny you care or wrong to push you in the direction of a particular step therapy. And if this happens, and they determine that they were wrong, then your plan must cover the services or treatments that you need. And just as a reminder, an independent medical review is free, and the results frequently get patients the care that they need. So it's important to remember that this is a tool that you can utilize to try to ensure that you get the most from your plan and get the best care that you are entitled to. So what's the response timeline like? Well, typically, if your problem's not urgent, the case is decided within 45 days. But if the problem is urgent, then the case typically is decided within 7 days. So they do ask specific questions to determine which is which. So the way this process works is you first have to file a grievance or a complaint with your actual health plan. And you can typically do that with your health plan either electronically, by phone, or by mail. Each plan is a little bit different, but they generally all have those ways for which you can submit your complaint. And they're required to resolve the complaint or provide a response within 30 days. If your plan upholds their denial through the grievance process, or you've not received a response within 30 days, then you can go ahead and move forward with submitting your IMR or your complaint with the Department of Managed Health Care. And if there's an immediate threat, though, to your health or you're in severe pain, you might be able to you can seek assistance from the Department of Managed Health Care to expedite this process. Okay. So before we go into the resources piece of things, I want to stop share here. I would like to take a look at what the actual steps are for if you were to file a complaint through the Department of Managed Health Care. I have a little infographic that I will be sending out with the resources, which is the recorded session in this presentation deck. But I'd like to kind of show what this looks like in terms of the process, to kind of give a little bit of perspective on what this is going to look like. So this handout will be included. And as I mentioned before, if your health plan denies, changes, or delays your request for medical services, or denies payment for ER treatment, or etc., you can apply for IMR. And the way that you would apply is go to the healthhelp.ca.gov website. and submit the complaint there. But on the page, on the right-hand side of the page, there will be a link that will allow you to submit online. Once you click on submit online and you input all of the information that they're requesting, it's typically the questions are generally 1 page long. Once you submit all of the information, including any attachments that you might have to substantiate your request, you will generally get an email. They'll review your application and you'll get an email, but you'll also, well, when I submitted mine personally, I got an email, but I also received a letter, an acknowledgement letter within 7 days to advise you that they have received your applications. Urgent, expedited IMR decisions are typically determined within 7 days. So mine was pretty urgent, and so I also got an email communication. I submitted my request personally on a Friday, and I received an actual follow-up call on Tuesday, and the request for what I needed from my healthcare provider. My healthcare provider got back to me by that same Thursday of that week. So I submitted on a Friday, got a response on a Tuesday, and my health plan got back to me on Thursday. So it moved very, very quickly, especially when it's expedited. When I spoke with someone, they asked me very specific questions. And so they determined that this was urgent, that it needed to be addressed right away. Non-expedited IMRs are usually decided within 45 days and consumer complaints within 30 days. So just so you know. About 68% of enrollees receive their requested services through IMR. So you will receive acknowledgement in the mail if it was decided in your favor, and the health plan is required to authorize the service or treatment if they do deem it in your favor. So that is some information with regards to like the actual steps and what that looks like. And what I think I'll do is just show the page here because I do have it up. And so let me just do a quick screen share so you can see what the actual page looks like. So this is right at the page where, you can actually see where to file a complaint. When you go to the main page, they have it in very big letters. This is the main page. This is the link that I have listed in the presentation deck, but it has the telephone number as well as the link. They really encourage you to submit online, although there are other options, but online is really going to be the best. And then it does also go through what the complaint process looks like, pretty much all of the information that we covered in today's session. And there's a video clip here that I would encourage you to watch before you submit it. It just makes the process easy. While it is not complicated at all, it does help if you already know what you are going to be doing when you go through the steps of filing your IMR. But here is where you would actually submit it. They have the pictures of submit online, submit by mail, and submit by fax. And for me, I would submit online with English. And this is what the main page looks like here. They give you a bit of information about recommendations, which means they want you to print this page so you have this information as a reference. And you would click continue. And they have some notice. They do have this Knox-Knee Act notice that they want you to ensure that you acknowledge, and you hit continue. And then you go through and you input all of your information that is highlighted in yellow. So as you can see, really the complaint documentation, like the steps that they have you do to submit your complaint or your IMR, it is not a very long and extensive process that you go through. So that is essentially what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and close out of that and go back to the presentation so that we can take a quick look at the resources before we close out today's session. So the resources we have are the healthhelp.ca.gov workshop, healthhelp.ca.gov website. and that we just looked at, along with the telephone number, the direct link to file a complaint online, as well as the actual PDF document if you decide that you want to fax it in or mail it in. And then there is a list of resources that the DMHC website has. So check that out. There's a lot of information on the website, but we do have the address here for the help center where the actual application would go if you were to mail it in, and the fax number if you were to fax it in. So that actually concludes today's session. I hope this information was helpful to you. Keep your eyes peeled for the recording of this as well as the resources. And just know that you do have resources out there. Thank you for joining today's session and have a great day.